Live right here on this Monday on the early line on SportsGrid. We are still 3 days away from game number one, the opening night of the 2024 NBA Finals. So in these next 3 days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, before we get to game day Thursday, what are we going to see? What might change between Boston and Dallas as the Celtics await the Mavericks in game number one of the 2024 NBA Finals inside TD Garden on Thursday? JY, let's start with one big change for Boston, presumably on his way back. That is Kristaps Porzingis. KP back at practice over the weekend as a full participant. We haven't seen him since early in the opening round against Miami. We thought maybe we would see him return to the Eastern Conference Finals. The Celtics 1-4. They didn't really need Porzingis out there. What does Kristaps Porzingis bring to Boston that we haven't truly seen throughout this NBA playoff run?
Well, number one, more than everybody wants to talk about KP, it's his ability to block shots. I mean, that's your rim protector. That's your guy that protects the rim and allows you defensively, let's be honest, Ben, to get up into people's spaces and take away the three-point shot and funnel players into the lane. Al Horford, love him, has had a great career, but that's not Al's game. So I think getting KP back allows you to have that rim protection there and then also the ability to stretch the floor. Obviously, one of the best shooting big men. He can bring the ball, he can come outside, which then on the flip side brings Gafford and Lively, two guys that are good defenders around the rim. It brings them away from the basket as well. So having KP is key and critical to what could be the 18th title for the Boston Celtics, and they need KP to play well. It's going to be an interesting spot for KP. It'll be the first time he's in a championship run like this, going against a team that he was the Knicks traded him to Dallas to be the sidekick for Luka Dončić. It obviously did not play well. But KP is going to be a critical point in this series. And lucky for Boston and for KP, he got himself a little bit of rest. Should be able to get a lot of the kinks out this week in practice before game one on Thursday night.
Game number one, as you said, Coach, Thursday night, a 6-point advantage here right now for the Boston Celtics over the Dallas Mavericks, and a total that's listed at 214.5. Now, we talked about it earlier in the show, some of the betting tendencies here from the public through the FanDuel Sportsbook, 77% of the tickets currently coming in on the Mavericks. So if we're lining up this series with this long of a layoff, what are we actually going to get out of game number one from these two teams?
Well, you're going to probably see, if you're Dallas, you're going to try and get your two main guns, especially Luka Dončić, off to a hot start. And the chess match is really going to be who guards Luka and Kyrie, and the flip side, who guards Tatum and Brown. I fully expect that Jrue Holiday should be guarding Luka Dončić, and then I would go ahead and put Derek White on Kyrie Irving. On the flip side, P.J. Washington should be guarding Jayson Tatum, and Derek Jones Jr. should be guarding Jaylen Brown. So to me, that's the intriguing thing looking at off the bat for Dallas is can your two guys take advantage of their matchups? Jrue Holiday and Derek White, we did say, I said it wrong last week, they were second team All-NBA defensive, but two of the better guards. It'll be very interesting to see what happens. If I am Jason Kidd and I have Luka being guarded by Jrue Holiday, I may go first side of the floor with Kyrie Irving, let him come off the first action first, because I think he's got more of the advantage versus Derek White, then see if you can create some kind of help opportunities, and then look for the kick out. So you should be looking at, for me, honestly, game number one, maybe Kyrie Irving assists, because he may have to be the facilitator early on in game number one.
6 points in favor of Boston, but so far now in their 7 home playoff games that we have seen throughout these NBA playoffs, make that 8 home NBA playoff games throughout this postseason run. This is the shortest spread, only the second time they have not been booked as a double-digit favorite inside TD Garden. So, JY, we saw a little bit of odds movement in terms of how the odds makers expect this series to play out. Frankly, a little bit more competitive than we initially anticipated. But with that being said, the Celtics remain a hefty favorite at minus 220 to win number 18. That is Larry O'Brien Trophy number 18 for this Boston Celtics organization. On Friday, we asked you, after the Mavericks won the Western Conference Finals in only 5 games, what was your NBA Finals prediction? And you gave us Dallas in 6. Does it remain that way after a weekend of thought and a couple more days until game number 1?
Well, my late mother, in her Panamanian voice, used to say, "That's my story, and I'm sticking to it." And I am sticking to it. Mom, you'll be very happy I'm doing that. I am going with Dallas in 6. I think people talk to me about Dallas in 7. I think it would be incredibly difficult to win a game 7 in the TD Bank Garden versus Celtics. So I like Dallas in 6 games. I think it's imperative that they get off to a good start. So I know there's plays you could take it, like for instance, Dallas to win game 1 and then to win the series is something that I'm looking at. That is at plus 400. So if you get a little bit more better odds, if you want to try and take it that way, I think they got to get at least a 1-1 split coming out of Boston. I think game 1 is the game you look at because you have to, one, worry about the rustiness of Porzingis in game number 1. And also the first time Boston will be playing a team at full strength and with rest. That is the other thing you need to look at. I do think, even though it's a plus 6.5 right now for the Dallas Mavericks, I will play the plus 6.5 and I will sprinkle the money line that they win game number 1.
So, JY, as we get ready for game number 1, it was right there on the minute mark.
Yeah, right.
Literally 37, 38. Yeah, that's very tough. Always very tough. So, JY, as we get ready for game number 1, 3 days away, you have Dallas in 6. The Mavericks, I would then assume, have to win one of the first 2 in Boston. Do you think that's game 1, or could it be game 2?
I think it's more of game 1, Ben, because of the Porzingis effect of being rusty. And I think you get a Dallas team that tries to throw a knockout punch early in game 1, and they get a game right away to go up 1-0. If I think Dallas is going to win this series, I think it's important that they try and steal the first game.
No hesitation on the other side of the break, as we'll have more from JY in terms of the individual assessment. Who makes the biggest mark on the 2024 NBA Finals and wins the MVP award? Find out next. The 2024 NBA Finals begins on Thursday. We have showed you the series outright odds, where the Celtics are a minus 220 favorite to win championship number 18. Dallas enters as the underdog at plus 184. The reason I mention those odds is because it directly correlates to how the Finals MVP might play out. Jayson Tatum, an odds-on favorite at minus 115. Luka Dončić, second best number at 2-1, only 16 cents away from his individual price from that of his team to win the Larry O'Brien Trophy this season. But it wasn't Jayson Tatum, JY, winning the Eastern Conference Finals MVP hardware. It was his teammate, Jaylen Brown. So with the Celtics being a minus 220 favorite, let's say Boston makes good on that number, wins Larry O'Brien Trophy number 18. Who wins the NBA Finals MVP?
That's a tough one, because I think everybody would expect it and hope it would be Jayson Tatum being the best player on the best team all year. But let's be honest, guys. If you look at the 2022 NBA Finals, series that Boston was up 2-1, up I think 3 or 4 minutes left to go in the fourth quarter, when Marcus Smart, God bless his soul, took one of the worst shots I've ever seen, and the game in the series completely flipped. Jaylen Brown was the best player for the Celtics that series. So to me, and Jaylen Brown, who was the Eastern Conference Finals Larry Bird MVP, I would lean more to Jaylen Brown, to be honest with you, because I just think Tatum could go through periods of time where he could have stinkers. I also think the fact that does this moment become too big for Derrick Jones Jr., and the fact that does he get a little bit too aggressive and allow Jaylen Brown to get to the foul line and earn 3 points? I honestly trust P.J. Washington a little bit more as a defender, to be honest with you. And it's also going to depend on how the game is called by officials, Ben. That's going to be a big topic of it, how they allow particularly Derrick Jones Jr. to play aggressively defensively. So if you're asking me right now who I would take, if I'm taking the Celtics, I'm just going to take them to win the series. If it's MVP and you have one guy for the Celtics, I'm actually leaning more Jaylen Brown because of the price at 6-1.
Let's take a look at these price points here at the FanDuel Sportsbook for the top 4. By the way, Jayson Tatum now 5 cents better. Excuse me, 5 cents worse, depending on which way you're betting it. A minus 120 price here to win an MVP. Luka Dončić 2-1, Jaylen Brown 6-1, and Kyrie Irving at 20-1. Coach, the reason I brought up the top 4 is we're expecting unbelievable series performances out of those guys. Let's just say this. One of those 4 guys doesn't win it here, which means we started Derek White at a 36-1. If there is a chance for a long shot winner of the MVP here in the finals, which we have seen in the past, who could that guy be?
Honestly, could be Porzingis at 50-1. Because of his ability to shoot the ball from 3, to be an elite rim protector and block shots and rebound the ball. Got to remember, folks, he should be around the basket as well. So that should be a little bit of a sleeper pick. I know he probably will not ever be a big rebounder. It's never been his thing, but he's 19-1 to lead the series in rebounds. Remember, he's going to guard Eric Lively and Daniel Gafford. Both of them should be at the dunk spot, so that should be a play to think about. I think it could be Porzingis, a guy that could stretch the floor, knock down some threes. You load up your defense to stop both Tatum and Brown, and someone gets loose, and maybe Gafford and Derek Lively get caught around the basket watching the ball, and Porzingis can go off 50-1. Porzingis, very intrigued by it, guys.
All right, Dallas in 6. JY's official prediction for the 2024 NBA Finals. So I ask you one final follow-up question. If the Dallas Mavericks win the NBA championship, does anybody not named Luka Dončić win the NBA Finals MVP?
Ben, North Jersey, stand up. Kyrie Irving, 20-1. I know I may be drinking the Kyrie Kool-Aid, but I just feel like for the first time in his career, he's not talking anything crazy. He's just playing. And I think of the fact of Drew Holiday loading up on Luka, I think Kyrie's got a good matchup on him versus Derek White. I think Kyrie gets loose. He's going to have the ball in his hands a lot, maybe first side of the floor. Kyrie Irving, 20-1 to win the MVP.
All right, quick follow-up question then. Luka Dončić, who's the odds-on favorite to still lead this series in scoring, does he do that and then Kyrie can win MVP?
I think he does, but it's going to be close. It's going to be about what else he does, and big shot moments are Kyrie's thing. Remember, he did win a championship with a big shot in the last minute.
Big shot moments. JY, in that fashion, fade away to the break. Hour 3 up next.